Hi everyone, it's Keira and welcome back to my channel. So a couple of weeks ago I done a video on my channel which was titled Future F1 Stars from Each Country, and it's quite self-explanatory. I picked out some drivers which I thought are going to be potential Formula 1 World Champions from each country, and I basically told you guys about them. And for today's video I am back with the part 2 of this. The video went down really well and everybody asked for a part 2 because there's so many drivers that are definitely Formula 1 worthy. So yeah, here I am for a part 2. And for this video I've partnered up with my friend Tina from the TF1 show. He honestly has such a great knowledge of junior drivers. We share the same love for the same junior drivers as well, so I thought he'd be the perfect person to get on this video. He is also a fellow content creator and I will leave all of his links down below. He makes some great videos. But yeah, let's just get started into the video and I will jump into the first driver. Okay, so the first person I'm going to be talking about is YURI Vips. He was born on the 10th of August 2000 and he is from Tallinn in Estonia. Now I think a lot of people have heard of YURI Vips, especially this year, because he has been linked with Formula 1 seats. He has done some Formula 2 and stuff like that. But it's not just been this year that's been successful for YURI. So let's go all the way back to 2017 where he really started. So in 17 he was the ADAC F4 champion with Prema. He took 2 wins and 6 podiums that year. So straight away off the bat he was fast. 2018 he done the FIA Euro Formula 3 Championship. I think most people know that year as being Mick Schumacher's year, and he came 4th that year. He came 4th to the likes of Mick Schumacher, who won obviously and is in Formula 2 with Prema. Second was Dan Tipton, as we know Dan is in Formula 2 with Dams, and third was Robert Schwartzman, as we know, who is in Formula 2 with Prema. So all of these drivers that he was racing with and who he was battling with in 2018 are up into Formula 2 this year, and you know, some of them, aka Mick, will be going up to Formula 1 next year. Now 2019 was the year that he stepped up even more. Now 2019, I think for a lot of people in FIA Formula 3 was the year that everybody looked at the Premas. It was Schwartzman, it was Armstrong, it was de Ruyveler. They were the 3 that everyone was looking at. But I think YURI really slipped through the net this year because he came 4th and he was fighting up with that top 3. But in terms of like the media and, you know, how people remember that year, they just remember those 3 Premas, and also, as we know, all of those 3 went up to Formula 2 that year. But he didn't, and I mean, part of this is probably to do with Red Bull. He is a Red Bull back junior and Red Bull did not put him up into Formula 2. They chose to put Yuki Tsunoda up instead. So he definitely, you can see from his record, he definitely deserves to go up into Formula 2. So I don't know why Red Bull decided to not put him up for 2020. So 2020 was kind of all over the place really for YURI Vips. I think a lot of people know about his story this year, but he was meant to do Super Formula and Formula Regional. He started off Formula Regional, it hasn't gone the best. I think he's like 8th or something in the championship. This weekend is actually the last championship for Formula Regional, but he was meant to kind of do Super Formula at the same time so he could get the Super License points up. I don't know why he wasn't put in Formula 2. I think that's a lot of people's questions for Red Bull, why they didn't do it in the first place, but they didn't. But he couldn't do Super Formula because of the quarantine issues and the global pandemic issues. He couldn't travel from Europe to Japan, to Europe to Japan. It wasn't going to work, so he didn't even do Super Formula this year, and he hasn't had a great year in Formula Regional. However, we do know that he replaced Sean Gelael for like 8 races in Formula 2 this year for Dams, and he done amazing. He had 3 consecutive 11th places, he had a 3rd position, he got a podium, and he just proved exactly what I knew he would. When he stepped in the car, I was like, I have no doubts that this man is not going to show what he is worth, and that's exactly what he done. And he's done amazing this year. I'm pretty sure he has said that he is going to be in Formula 2 next year, which is good, finally. But as I said, I think Red Bull have put him in way too late. So hopefully next year he can show everyone what he's worth. But yeah, YURI Vips is definitely one to watch. Maybe 2022, 2023, he might be the AlphaTauri driver if the likes of Pierre Gasly moves on or moves up or whatever. But yeah, YURI Vips is a star. This man is always there. He's always kind of there but behind, but he's always there, very consistent, and just an all-round complete driver. Okay, so next I'm going to be talking about MARTA GARCIA. She is a female racing car driver born on the 9th of August 2000 and is from Denia in Spain. Now, MARTA GARCIA is very fast. She is a driver which I'm in awe of every single time I watch her race. But again, let's go back to the start. So, going all the way back to her karting career, she was very fast and she won the championships such as the CIK FIA Karting Academy Trophy in 2015 and the Trofeo della Industria of 2015, which which is the oldest karting race in the world and has been won by the likes of Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel. I mean, think how many world championships you've got just in that sentence. It is ridiculous. So straight off the back into karting, she was racing with the European boys, which we know it is very tough to be a karter in Europe. It's the toughest out there. And for her to pick herself up and win those championships was amazing. So in 2016 was when she moved up into single seaters and she done the FIA Formula 4 Spanish Championship. She was a wild card for this year, so she couldn't score any points. She kind of just done a couple of races. They weren't the best. She was running at the back for most of them, but it's her first year in single seaters and it wasn't a proper season, so she probably, you know, got put in quite late. But the year after, in 2017, she picked it up. So she done SMP Formula 4 and Spanish Formula 4 again. This time she was racing for MP Motorsport. She came 9th in this championship and her best result was 5th in Jerez. She didn't actually score anything higher, however, her results were very consistent, and I think that's what a lot of people look at. It's not just about how many podiums you get, it's about how consistent you are, because there's some people that could get a podium one week and be nowhere the next week, but she was a very, very consistent driver. I don't think she'd done any racing in 2018, but 2019 was the year where I knew who MARTA GARCIA was, and let me tell you, this woman is incredible. So we know W Series started back in 2019 and this was what MARTA entered in. She was on fire. Now I think a lot of people just think of W Series at Jamie Chadwick, but actually you need to think about these other drivers that are in this championship too. All of these cars and all the machinery is equal in W Series, so there is no, you know, nothing like Formula 1 where, you know, you're in a Mercedes or you're in a Williams. There's nothing like that. Everything is absolutely equal in W Series. They even rotate race engineers as well, so everything is equal. You don't even have a team. Marta came 3rd in the Hockenheim race and also came 1st in the Nuremberg race, so she picked up a podium and also a win, and overall placed 4th in the championship. And I can just remember, out of all of the girls, there was like 20 girls on the grid, I just remember her being the most fierce driver, but still very fair. But I just remember her having that driving style where she was going for it and she wouldn't take no for an answer, and I loved it. It was such a good balance between being a good driver and also like that fierce side of things. So definitely she is one to watch. She is lined up for W Series for 2021, so hopefully she can come and shine that year, and she will definitely be in title contention.
Hello everyone, and hope everyone's doing amazingly. I just want to say thank you so much to Keira for giving me the opportunity to come and talk a bit on her channel, to share some of my hopefully insights and wisdom. But the two drivers that I've decided to discuss today, the first one is from Denmark, and his name is Frederik Vesti, and he's 18 years old from Langeland in Denmark. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but he, for me, is a very, very exciting prospect. He came 4th in the Formula 3 Championship this year. He drove for Prema alongside these two teammates, Oscar Piastri and Logan Sargent, and I guess, you know, he did finish 3rd amongst his fellow teammates. However, I would argue that he was probably the strongest driver at the tail end of the season, because he won the feature race in Monza and the final feature race in Mugello on the trot, which is a very, very impressive performance. He is also the Formula Regional champion from last year, the debut season of Formula Regional, and he's also performed really well in the past in both the Danish, Italian, and I think the German Formula 4 championships respectively. What makes him interesting to me personally is the fact that allegedly he was offered to be part of the Red Bull Junior program, and he actually told Helmut Marko, looked him in the eye and said, no thanks. He is better off trying to develop himself at this moment in time, and will probably only commit to a junior academy later on in his career. So at the moment, it looks like Frederik is going to do another season in Formula 3, probably definitely with the aim to win the championship next year. Initial signs look like he's going to be driving for ART next year, which is another top team. So hopefully we can see Frederik again challenging for that F3 championship and then moving up into the higher levels of the sport thereafter. Alright, so the next driver I want to talk about is actually from the United States. And no, it's not Logan Sargent, surprise, surprise. I am talking about the driver next in line, the next American hope after Logan Sargent. He is 15 years old. He's from Charlotte, North Carolina. His name is Jack Crawford, and he's currently a Red Bull Academy junior who has very much made a big impression in Formula 4 this year, with an incredibly tight battle between him and Johnny Edgar for the German Formula 4 championship. Now, he eventually came second in that championship after having an incredibly impressive karting career that obviously drew the attention of Helmut Marko. So he, I think, can be a really interesting prospect going into perhaps Formula Regional, Formula 3 even next year. We're actually not sure what his next steps are going to be, but the incredible competitiveness he showed against Johnny Edgar in the Formula 4 Championship for Germany, and then subsequently in the final race, or the previous race, apologies, that he drove against Gabriel Mini, who Keira discussed in her previous version of the Young Drivers episode, where he performed incredibly well against an established field. I think that makes him a really interesting prospect, and I would like everybody that watches this episode to follow his career closely and maybe see if he can become one of the next big American stars in Formula One one day.
Those were Tinas's two drivers, great drivers in Frederick Vesti and Jack Crawford. And the final one we're going to talk about today is I'm kind of breaking the rules on this series, but I'm kind of not. So the next person I'm going to talk about is Oliver Rasmussen, who was born in France, but actually races under the Danish flag. So we've kind of done two Danes, but we kind of haven't. I've kind of got away with that. He was born on the 6th of November in 2000, so he is 20 years old. He was born in Mugens in France, but he did grow up in Denmark. I believe that his father is French, so that may be the link. When he started racing, he raced under the French flag, but now he's moved on to the Danish flag. So I think he's definitely a Dane now, but I'm kind of putting him as both so I can get away with talking about him because he is a talent. So Oliver done Italian Formula 4 in 2018 with Genza, and if I'm honest, he really didn't have a great start to a single-seater career. He had a really bad season. He only finished once in the points. However, for 2019, he moved over to Prema for the Italian F4 series. He finished 8th in the series and also done ADAC F4 and came 12th in that. A lot of drivers do them alongside each other if you didn't know. So again, he had a competitive year. It wasn't the best, but 2020 is really where Oliver has shone. So firstly, between like January, February time, he done the Toyota Racing Series and he came 11th in that championship. So again, not amazing. But after that, he has done Formula Regional with Prema and he has been fast. Now, I think a lot of people this year have been talking about Artur Leclerc, Gianluca Petkov, who are the main championship contenders, but nobody is talking about Oliver Rasmussen when he is right there. He can still mathematically win this championship. He is not too many points behind the two boys in front. The last race of Formula Regional is this weekend, so I definitely urge you to watch that if you haven't already. It is amazing, but he is doing very well this year. He has had 5 wins and 6 third places this year and has all round just been really fast, been really on it, been really there, not really making many mistakes, and he's just done really well. So especially when you're looking at this championship saying, is it Artur Leclerc? Is it Gianluca Petkov? You need to be looking at whether it's Oliver Rasmussen as well, because he could win this championship. Like, imagine if that happened, that would be mega. Now, more recently in October, he done the FIA Formula 3 test. So when you do the test, you are kind of most likely to be moving up into Formula 3 next year. So definitely watch out for him on the Grand Prix weekends with Formula 3 next year. I don't know whether he'll be with Prema or whether he will be with HWA or whether he'll be with a complete other team. I don't know, but he's going to be very fast next year. It'll be very interesting to see how he drives, how he gets on. As we know, Formula 3 is a very make or break season for a lot of drivers, but I believe he's going to do very well. From the momentum he has had this year, next year I think he's gonna boss it. So there we have it. That is it for today's video. I hope you did enjoy it and learn a little bit more about the junior drivers that are coming up. Again, as I said in the first one, I am kind of trying to target drivers that are Formula 3 and lower, because they're the stars. You know, we know about the Formula 2 drivers, but I want to know more about the younger drivers. Again, thank you so much for Tinas from the TF1 show for joining me on this video. I will leave all of his links down below. Please go and check out his stuff because he is amazing at what he does. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon for a brand new video. Goodbye.